Pelicans were one of the most mysterious teams going into this NBA season. I mean, what do you make of a squad with two of the most talented players in the league, but whose overall roster has the depth of a puddle? No one knew how Boogie Cousins would settle into his first full season with the organization. I'm not wrong. No one knew how New Orleans would stack up in that very crowded middle pack of the Western Conference, where there's only a game and a half difference between the 5 seed and the 9 spot. Well, turns out we are getting some answers. Last night's win over Boston was the Pelicans' 4th in their last 5. And the second game in a row, Anthony Davis was just a flat-out baller. You know, the Celtics are still the top-rated defense in the NBA, but AD laid 45 points and 16 rebounds on them. Watch this. He's turning a shaky pass into a nice little spin, fadeaway, swish. In fact, I am not sure a single one of his jumpers hit anything but pure nylon last night. He was that dialed in. I want to put into perspective just how good a week AD had. He is the first player to notch back-to-back games with at least 45 points and 15 rebounds since Charles Barkley did it back in 1988, which, for those of you playing along at home, was 5 years before AD was even born. But it's not just Davis. It's how he and Boogie are playing together. Oh, yeah. It's time for one of our favorite shows here at The Jump. Bring it to me. Bring it to me. Boogie and the Brow is thriving. Boogie and AD are on pace to become the only teammates in NBA history to average at least 25 points and 10 rebounds a game. Ever. Only teammates. The time when New Orleans couldn't figure out the spacing for the two big men, clearly a thing of the past. And on a team where Drew Holiday and Rajon Rondo handle the ball plenty, Boogie is still averaging more assists per game than about a third of the NBA's starting point guards. So everything should be rosy in New Orleans, right? All questions answered? Not exactly. Boogie's contract is up this summer, of course, and there are already reports that the Lakers and Mavericks are interested in offering him max deals, which means the Pelicans have to decide whether they are ready to commit the next 5 years and close to $180 million to a player who can be as mercurial as he is talented. Because if they are not, they have just 3 weeks left before the trade deadline to go get something for him, or in a few months, watch him walk away for nothing. If you're New Orleans, have you seen enough in the past 4 months to make such a long-term commitment? That is still a bit of a mystery, and depending on what the Pelicans decide, it's one that over the next few weeks could affect the entire NBA. So, Tracy, should the Pelicans keep Boogie and the Brow together?
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not, because I think with this roster, how are you going to go out and improve? If you sign Boogie to a max contract, you have AD on his max contract, you have Drew Holiday making $26 million a year, you can't improve this roster. With these two guys playing together, I love them playing together, but if you're going to hover around the 500 mark with two all-NBA, potentially first-team guys, there's no need to have these guys, no need to double down on these guys. I would trade one of these guys, get some valuable pieces to improve my roster.
One of these guys, you would trade Cousins.
No, I would think about
if I could. He's actually not the only one I've heard go
if I could get a commitment from Boogie.
Is my mouth close enough to the floor for you?
No, I want it to drop all the way down.
Okay.
If I can get a commitment from Boogie, I will look to trade AD.
I think you're out of your mind.
Why?
I will look to trade AD because I feel I can get valuable assets to improve my roster and I already have a legitimate big man that is just as dominant as AD. I'm afraid if I trade Boogie, I won't get that same value back from him.
That makes sense.
Yes.
But why on earth would you trade the best young big person in the game? He's 24 years. I hate big man. Big person. 24 years old. He's having, the big thing has always been durability.
Durability. That's a big thing.
I understand that, but I'm betting on Anthony Davis over DeMarcus Cousins for a whole bunch of reasons. Now, I will say this: Boogie's having a great year. He's having a phenomenal year. I have seen his numbers. He's up at the top of real plus minus, which is one of my favorite metrics. Anthony Davis is in the top 5 of player efficiency ratings. They're both having a fantastic year, but man, I just don't see how you walk away from a kid that we don't even know what the ceiling is. We know what it is with Boogie. And sometimes that ceiling gets a little crazy up there, Tracy.
Yeah, but I mean, with the consistency of his health, I don't know. And that's a big,
I always feel like he falls into that old saying of like you trade $1, you're only getting 4 quarters back. Like you're never going to get a player of his caliber back. Obviously, you would hope maybe you get a draft pick. You would hope that you would draft someone who may eventually turn into Anthony Davis.
I
mean, that's
people that will be willing
right.
to try.
The Boston's. I think Danny Ainge might be just listening to this discussion and flying down to New Orleans on the basis
you
of
can't
your
keep them
say-so.
together, though. You can't keep them together.
Well, you're right because of the numbers.
Yes.
I mean, they're $706,000 just below the cap.
So this is interesting because they are having the most success
That's
they've
good Bobby
had.
Marks, by the way, our insider.
They're having the most success they've had this last most recent run that they've had in a long time. This is a team that has not won a playoff series in 10 years. Right. It would be a win for them to get into the playoffs. If they can keep at the 6th seed and not fall into the 7 or 8 and not end up playing Houston or Golden State in the first round, maybe they even win a first-round series. Are you willing to give all that up based on what a potential maybe future you might be trying to build for in the future? But then you've got the Boogie Cousins this summer.
All that was to take place,
But you don't know that now. You got to decide in the next 3 weeks.
And here's the other thing. Look at the Western Conference. Number 9, they're the Clippers, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are they, 23 and 21? It's not that much different than the 6th place team you're talking about. One of these teams, Clippers, Portland, Denver, the Thunder, New Orleans, one of them is not making the playoffs, guys.
Yeah, so I don't know. And it's interesting, of course, if Boogie gets traded, as I was saying, this is going to have a ripple effect. Wherever he goes could affect lots of other things.
And let's throw in this.
conferences.
If you're the Clippers and you're looking at the same kind of thing and you've got DeAndre Jordan in the final year of his deal, you've got similar decisions to make.
Yeah.